So I feel a lot more peaceful, I guess, than I have in the past. And, you know, I think that came from praying a lot while traveling. Because traveling alone is actually really stressful and annoying, and it just sucks. It's really lonely. So I was praying like a lot. And, I made a video before about how, anxiety is doubting God's plan. And anxiety is the mind killer, just like fear is the mind killer. And there's just no reason for it. Like, especially when I look back on my life now, like, the amount of time that I spent afraid and anxious is like, for what? Like, for what? Is so stupid. Everything, destiny or fate or like the future has a way of like really making a fool out of you for being afraid of whatever you were afraid of, because it ends up not mattering in a way that you can't predict that it won't matter. And another thing that I've been doing is kind of just, when you're faced with like uncertainty and confusion and pain and all of this stuff, give it to God. And I don't know really what that means or how to explain that, but it's like you're giving it to God, because God is putting that in you for a reason, and you're giving the uncertainty of why it's there to God. To like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like this sort of faith that you develop. I have more faith now than I've ever had in my life, and part of that is accepting that I can't control anything, and that I'm just like, I used to get so upset about whether or not I would like get married or have kids, and it's like, what am I going to do, force it? Maybe that's the right thing to do for some people in some situations, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm not going to force anything to happen. And just give it to God. Like, he'll sort it out. God will sort it out in time. And like the healing and the pain, all these things, they're there for a reason, and you don't really know, or maybe it's no reason at all. Maybe you just have to ignore it or just work through it, Like, you have to bear your cross. You have to follow Christ. And the way to do that is to just keep plowing forward, even though you don't really know what's coming. So I feel like I have more faith now than I've had before, and I think a lot about the 3 crosses, partly because AJ Rhino Bear had this video, or had this painting he made of them, and he had it right on his piano ledge, and it was really funny because I was there with AJ, and I was like, it's really funny, the 3 crosses, they represent all of humanity. And he started laughing, and he was like, I just got this text from Noonie, who's another bear we know, and she sent him a message being like, the 3 crosses represent all of humanity. All of humanity is up on that hill. It's the divine. Christ represents like the ultimate connection to the divine, and then it's the man who has sinned but is repenting, and then it's the man who rejects salvation altogether. And they're 3 criminals sentenced to die, just like all of humanity. We're criminals in that we sin against God. We're sentenced to die in that we're mortal. So it is this it's an awesome metaphor, and it kind of sums up all of Christianity. And it's like, you have to bear your cross. So, you know, which one are you? Yeah, it was just funny because me and Noonie said the exact same thing, the exact same day. It's you know, and I said on Instagram that like atheists are the third cross. That's not necessarily true, but a lot of atheists are, and because it's the people who reject salvation and reject God and just they don't believe it, you know, because Christ was dying and he turned to the one criminal and said, you know, I'm going to paradise, you can come with me. And that criminal accepted it. And the other criminal said, I don't believe you, it's all fake. It's none of it's real, I don't believe you, there is no God. And it's like, that's all of humanity right there. There's the people who, but you have to carry them. It's part of it. You have to carry them. And you know, it's just stunning. It's really beautiful. But yeah, I found a lot of peace in praying, and just whatever the uncertainty is that's in my life, because it usually is uncertainty or the pain or whatever it is, it's like, you know, it helps to remind yourself that you don't have to feel the things that you feel. Like, you can choose to some extent not to let something bother you, and you can choose to, you know, to not think about it, to not let it make you crazy, because there's a lot of things that don't make sense, and or it seem to not make sense. And I think a lot of the reason why people don't believe in God, a lot of atheists, is because they look at other people's lives, not necessarily their own lives, but other people's lives, and they say, man, if that happened to me, like, I would, you know, or, oh my God, how can God exist when something so terrible happened? And it's like, those other people's lives aren't your life, and you can't really compare yourself to other people that way. Like, you know, maybe it made sense and more sense to that person than it does to you, you know? And it's not always the case. There are things that just seem terrible and just are terrible, but like, you know, God does have a plan, and his plan's better than ours. It feels weird whenever I talk about this kind of thing. Like, I want to intellectualize it because I'm trying to explain to my past self what I believe now, you know, back when I was an atheist and everything, and it's just junk. Like, what is that all for? Oh, by the way, I went down a lot of rabbit holes recently. So dinosaurs are insanely stupid. Like I went further than like Eric Dubay went in researching like the history of where the idea of dinosaurs comes from, and it is, I'm trying to keep this PG, it is the dumbest thing. Like this guy found these teeth, and he wanted to believe so bad that they belonged to prehistoric giant lizards, because that was just his thing, and he was basing this on like nothing. And you know, he brought it to people, and people were like, oh, they're rhinoceros teeth, they're fish teeth, and he's like, no, I know that these are dinosaur teeth. And they're like, what's a dinosaur? And he's like, they're the thing that I invented that I'm gonna prove existed by, you know, presupposing a bunch of facts. Anyway, dinosaurs are insanely fake. The flat earth thing, you know, I've been like keeping track of different mind control methods, and one of the most effective ways to control someone's thoughts is to shame them when they start asking questions. When they start pursuing a line of questioning, you shame them, you tell them they're stupid, right? It's the association fallacy, you know, guilt by association. Oh, if you question the moon landing, you're a flat earther. Or if you question the moon landing, you're stupid, you know? Like, just because you question something, surely that doesn't make you stupid. Just because you question a number, surely that doesn't make you a hateful white supremacist. So, in keeping track of those tactics, I realized that that's exactly how it is with Flat Earth. That I was more than the Flat Earthers make really bad arguments a lot of the time. And their problem is that they don't understand the opposite side. They don't understand physics. A lot of them, some of them do, but a lot of them don't. And that's another thing I noticed is that, if the best arguments of a conspiracy will be hidden from you, you'll only have access to the worst arguments. Like, that's why if you Google moon landing, you'll get a bazillion results saying you're an idiot for even asking. And then you'll get some results where it's like a crazy schizo in a diaper being like, oh, well, the way that the flag moves. But people are like, what do I know about the way the flag moves on the moon? Like, that's too, I can't comprehend that. They always they front load you with the dumbest arguments for a conspiracy so that you don't go down that line of questioning. And then the more nuanced, interesting arguments are always hidden from you. And I found that kind of is the case with the globe Earth skeptics. Let's call them that. The globe Earth skeptics. It is pretty mind-blowing when you realize that there's no reason to believe that there's ever been a picture of the Earth taken from space. There's no reason to believe that we've ever been to space. Because, all they do is lie. There's a huge track record of lying. And so yeah, I've learned some things. I have a different outlook now. I used to kind of just write off flat earthers totally because they would say things like, well, water always finds its level. And it's like, well, it doesn't if the force of gravity is coming from the center of the sphere, which is what gravity does. Gravity is a property of matter. That's another thing people don't understand, is that gravity is a property of matter according to mainstream physics. And if you don't think gravity is real, that's fine, but at least know what you're arguing against. So you can't say like, it's just stupid. And the other thing that they say that's easily oh, I don't see a curve when I drive, or I don't see a curve even when I fly in a plane. It's like, that's not a convincing argument, because on a large enough sphere, it would be locally flat. Locally flat. So where you are would be basically mathematically flat at any point on the sphere. And I'm not saying that the Earth is a spinning globe. The more I look into it, the more that I think it probably is not, which I can't even believe I'm saying that, because I was so honestly shamed. That was the big thing, was shame. Shamed away from even asking those questions. But there has never been a picture of the Earth taken from space, and so I don't know if anyone knows what it is. It's possible that the model of Earth as a spinning sphere works mathematically and works, with the stars and everything, but models aren't reality. Ask any physicist that. Models and reality are two different things. So anyway, this video was supposed to be about finding peace. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, but it's like, just, God is immortal. God will always exist. And you don't have to worry about being something other than what you are, because you are what you are. And babies are still being born, and birds are still singing, and spring is still coming back, and it doesn't matter that much. You don't matter that much. And that's pretty freeing. God is what matters. So I think that's how I found peace.